Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. What in the world is wrong with the fake news media? I mean, now they've stooped to an unbelievably low. CNN making cartel members out to be victims because President Trump labeled them terror organizations. That's right, if you can believe it. CNN playing the cartel, the Mexican drug cartels, as victims. You literally have to hear this to believe it. We're going to play it for you. Beyond that, I also want to talk about President Trump offering up to send troops in to Mexico. What do you think the Mexican president says about this? I think President Trump shouldn't care what the Mexican president says about it. We ought to send troops in and take out these enemies of the United States once and for all. What is she going to do? Nothing. And so this is something we're going to talk about here. And Congressman Jay Obernolte is my guest. We're going to talk about everything going on in Washington, the spending bill. Can the Senate see things like the House? And I've got an interesting little tidbit coming out of the House. We say speed is of the essence. Not much speed coming out of the House of Representatives in this reconciliation process. We'll talk about all that today on Stinchfield, the podcast. So with that, folks, let's get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
Hey, President Trump is offering up sending the military in to help Mexico take out the cartels. The president of Mexico says, are you serious? President Trump says, absolutely, I'm serious. I actually think with or without the president's approval, we ought to go into Mexico and take out the cartels. President Trump has labeled them a domestic terror organization. But you want to see how devious and deceitful the mainstream media actually is? CNN goes and interviews one of the cartel members, and they paint them out to be a victim, as if somehow the cartels, the poor cartels, have now been labeled a terrorist organization. Roll the clip of the CNN reporter interviewing this terrorist. I believe it's cut 34, and it should be in the system. We got it, Dan? Okay. As we look for it, we will get cut 35 ready as well. Dan, it should be 34 and 35. Okay, 34, roll it.
According to the Trump administration, you are a terrorist. I mean, the cartels have been labeled a foreign terrorist organization. What do you make of that?
Está fea la situación, ¿verdad?
All right, so we don't have translation, but I can tell you,
What's your
I can tell you what
Donald Trump,
he says. All right, stop. So what he says is they've shut the borders down. They still have business. And he talks about the people of America and that President Trump needs to be concerned with the people of America. But the people of America want the product he's bringing in. My point to playing that clip, though, is not what the stupid terrorist says, because I could really care less. The point to playing that is that CNN is now asking a terrorist, what do you think about being a terrorist? Now asking a member of the cartel, what do you think about being a drug dealer? How dare you? They labeled you a criminal. They labeled you a terrorist. Oh, you poor thing. This is what we're up against. So President Trump, too, was asked about the cartels. I believe that, Dan, is cut 26.
They are horrible people that have been killing people left and right, they've made a fortune on selling drugs and destroying our people. We lost 300,000 people last year to fentanyl and drugs. They're bad news. Yeah, that's true. If Mexico wanted help with the cartels, we would be honored to go in and do it. I told her that. I would be honored to go in and do it. The cartels are trying to destroy our country. They're evil. And, we had 300,000 people die last year from fentanyl and all of that. We had millions of people brought into this country that shouldn't be here. The cartels brought them in. So if she said that I offered to do that, she's 100% right.
She's 100% right. Thank you, Mr. President. I am glad that you offered to do it. Now, again, I say we should go in and do it with or without their approval. This is a war, and they're waging war on American citizens. But Democrats, they love to defend MS-13 gang members. They love to defend cartel members. They love to stomp on the feet of victims. So I wonder what our resident Democrat friend, Edward in Irwindale, has to think about all of this. Edward, what say you?
He's got a radio up. Hang on a minute here.
Edward, what
Wait
say
for it.
you?
Yeah. Good morning to you, my friend.
Edward, you want to know something you're going to be very surprised about?
No, nothing would surprise me with you.
All right. Jen and I were very worried about you last week. We hadn't heard from you. We even mentioned you on air. We said, is Edward okay? Because we haven't heard from him. We were concerned about you. I know that probably surprises you.
Okay. I'm very surprised. And sometimes I just don't know how to react to right-wing media. I just don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what to say.
So here's the right-wing media was saying we were concerned about your safety and well-being. But what do you believe about the safety and well-being of the American citizens and cartel members and the way President Trump is handling this and the possibility of using the military to go after the cartel? Your thoughts?
As a former military member and a veteran, I don't want to see soldiers used to be hunting down some two-bit drug hustlers. That's not their job, okay? Not their job.
Now, what if I told you those two-bit drug hustlers have been part of a plot to kill 300,000 Americans?
I would disbelieve that.
So you don't think the fentanyl crisis is real in America?
We are a market for fentanyl. The American people want it. And whenever we want something, we get it.
All right. So do you not think the government should play a role in stopping the flow of that fentanyl through the southern border?
The American government should control all drugs that flow through America, all of them. I don't care what they are.
Okay.
We got to control it.
So shut the border down. If we use the military, that's okay?
Again, if they shut the border down, won't bother me none. But the military has a bigger job to do, not chasing, some two-bit drug hustlers. That's not the job for the military.
I would offer up that they're much more than two-bit drug hustlers when you're literally thinking about, the hundreds of thousands of Americans that are killed. Is there anything else you would like to say? Because I know you were on hold a long time. I want to make sure you get your, it's usually Jen that cuts you off, not me.
Happy Monday, Mr. Stinchfield. Hope your weekend was good. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because I'm laughing because you didn't bring your A game today. You weren't yelling and screaming at me.
My God! I can't be nice to you, right, Stitch?
No, you can be nice to me.
And you say that's not my A game. My A game, because you think my A game is to be angry, and that's not true.
Yes, it is. You love anger. You have embraced the form of anger.
I'm probably the happiest man you are acquainted with, actually.
Okay. From now on.
I love my family. I love my country. I'm a happy man.
All right. How about this? From now on, I will call you Happy Edward in Irwindale.
You call me something else.
Edward, the liberal black guy in Irwindale is what I called you. Edward, the liberal black guy.
You want to focus on my race.
I asked you permission if that was okay, and you said yes.
I said it's okay, but I don't know why that's an issue. I really don't.
Because I think it's funny. Edward, I will talk to you later. Thank you. Happy Monday.
Same to you.
Okay. That, folks, is Happy Edward, a.k.a. Edward the liberal black guy, a.k.a. Edward in Irwindale. He's got all kinds of nicknames now. Happy to have him call in. Brent is in L.A. Real quick, Brent, is this you're upset with me about something?
Yeah, I am. Good morning, Grant.
Here we go. Do you know I got complaints about you for being upset with me too often? Do you know that at the Unite IE conference?
No, I didn't hear that.
I did. I got a couple of them, actually. So, all right, let's hear it.
Well, I was thinking this morning, I'm surprised and saddened by your self-sabotaging, defeatist, pessimistic view of California, America, marriage, family, and the purpose of having children for statistical reasons without mentioning the divine source and sanctity of children. All this coming on the hope, optimism, energy, and positivity of the holy Unite IE celebration.
Brent,
and
Brent, do you have children?
No, I don't, unfortunately.
Okay, I rest my case. These little rugrats running around, you don't know what that's like. I'm teasing you, Brent. Brent, I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you.
Okay, but see, you insist you're being motivated by honesty and truthfulness, but you forget it was once impossible for America to defeat Great Britain, or that it was impossible for the Soviet Union to crumble overnight, or that there was ever a possibility for a modern state of Israel. And Theodore Herzl motivated his honest defeatists by declaring,
what do you want me to do? You want me to lie to you, Brent? You want me to lie to you? Okay. All right, Brent in L.A., everybody. That's Brent. Thank you for the call. I'm coming up on a break. I got to go. But so Brent wants me to lie to you. Folks, we're going to take back California this election. We're going to win the governor's house. We're going to win the Secretary of State's race. We're going to be the next attorney general. This state is going to be so red, you're going to need that stuff you put in your eyes to cure the bloodshot. That this state is going to be so red. In just 2 years, we're going to win, and you're going to get tired of all the winning because California is going to be the most Republican state in the country, and we're going to be the greatest there ever was. How's that, Brent? It's all a big fat lie. I wish that was the case. I wish. I do think it can happen over time. I just don't think it's going to happen in the next 2 years. All right? I'll tell you what, folks, do you want to get 20% annualized interest on your investment paid to you monthly, that interest? You need to go to get20now.com. This is about Bitcoin mining, industrialized Bitcoin mining. You don't have to deal with the wild swings of cryptocurrency. It's going up, it's going down. No, you lock into a deal, 20% annualized interest paid money. This is what my friends over at NFN8 are doing. The website is get20now.com, of course, because you can get 20% annualized interest up to, depending on the deal you make them, paid out monthly. I am involved in this. I've made a sizable investment, and I can tell you this. The folks at NFN8 have lived up to their promises to me. I know all these guys personally, and it has been a great deal for me. I'm so happy with them. So if you want to get involved in this, and you don't want the ups and downs of the stock market, cryptocurrency, and you want to lock into that annualized rate of 20%, go to get20now.com. That's get20now.com, and you tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you. Brent was upset with me for not embracing the idea of the divine notion that you have to have children because God wants us to. Well, that certainly is a case, and it is a consideration. When I was having a child, I wanted to make sure that I was ready for it. I wanted to make sure I was financially secure, emotionally secure, and it wasn't until I was about 40 years old till I felt like this was the time to have a child, and I only had one. Now, I tease you a lot about how, I don't like kids, and all. The truth is I get along great with kids, and I do like children, and I love my son. I may talk a lot about, oh, boy, it's so hard to be a parent and what boy, he eats me out of house and home, and he's constantly wisecracking. But you know what? All those things I love. I love his wisecracks, and he's taken after his father. So I love my son. I wouldn't talk about my son Wyatt if I didn't love him as much as I do, and I wouldn't talk about him as much as I do on this program. So there is all that. But we do have real problems in society today. And one of the things that we didn't talk about is the lack of religion. And I guess maybe this gets to Brent's point a little bit. The lack of religion, the lack of embracing God in the home, in schools, in government, in all these places. Now, one of the fundamental tenets of America, it's not that you can't have religion in government places or schools, is that you can't mandate certain religions be pushed on people. That's it. Look, we have in God, we trust on just about everything in the federal government. You can have a prayer in school. Courts have ruled you can pray in school. You just can't mandate it. So that's it. But we've lost our way when it comes to God and prayers, which if you were at the Unite IE conference, you would see that not only we say the Pledge of Allegiance, but we also said a nice prayer before we started up, because I think that's important. Now, I'm going to give you an example of why we've lost our way and how it looks like we're losing our way. This is a school board member in the Cabarrus County School Board. This is in North Carolina. Her name is Pam Escobar, and she's not too happy with wanting to say a prayer before the school board meeting. Listen to this.
How much prayer do you need? How much God do you need? We say under God, we say it. Why do we need to say more? Everyone who's sitting here still now are professionals. They come to work to dedicate their lives to children. They didn't come here to pray with you. If you want to pray with them, take them to church. You want to be evangelical and do that, go for it. But not on my time, not on their time, and not in this community's time. We're not in this business. This is not the time or the place. I don't know why you need prayer to take this job seriously. If that's your argument, that we won't be solemn enough, we won't take this seriously. What have you been doing for the last 6 months? Huh? Why do you need this? So how is this good for kids? How is this good for our school district? How is this being a good steward of taxpayer dollars?
Okay.
It's not.
It's not? How is prayer good for kids? Good for school district? Good for administration? This is a woman in charge of educating your children if you live in Carabas County, North Carolina. Sadly, there's a lot like her. I would bet you could go to the LA County School Board. You go to many school boards in Southern California, and you're going to find women, men who think the same way as this Pam Escobar. Now, I would offer this up. What's wrong with saying a quick prayer? Now, do you need to make it 15 minutes long? No. But a nice prayer to start off, because in the end, as I always say, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. And you owe God those blessings. And you need all the help you can get, especially in school boards across America where they are not doing the job that I think God set them out to do, that parents want them to do. They need all the help they can get. Maybe a little prayer might do them some good. So why? She literally asked all the questions that are pretty easy to explain. Why do you pray? Because you put your hands in God's hands. Now, God gives you free will. You've got to make smart decisions. But that doesn't mean you ask for help, for a little divine intervention. So that's why you pray. And it gives people hope and a sense of security and safety and that things are going to be okay. And that calmness. Couldn't we use a little calmness in our world? That too is what prayer is about. But she doesn't get it. And she says those people that come to school, they don't come to work to pray. Well, I don't know if that's true. I think there's probably many teachers that would love a prayer before school. Now, I know when I played football, and I played football all the way through college, it was the only sport I played where every day before a game we said a prayer. Every football team I ever played for said a prayer before a game. Maybe it's because it's a violent sport. Maybe it's because you know you need God on your side in order to survive it. But we didn't pray for my baseball team. My basketball team didn't pray. My football team did. Why aren't all teams praying? This lady, Pam Escobar, she is what typifies that of the radical left, a hatred for religion. Because you know what she ultimately hates? She ultimately hates that you put more stock in a higher power like God than you put stock in her on the school board. They want you beholden to government. Well, that's not our style, is it, folks? We're not going to be beholden to government. We're going to be beholden to just a few things: God, the Constitution, our families. That's my philosophy anyway. Folks, could you have a health issue being caused by an invisible enemy? I'm going to tell you something. This is absolutely disgusting. Parasites have invaded most of our bodies, all right? I'm getting this parasite cleanse from the wellness company, and I think, honestly, that you should too. Here's why.
What are the main differences between ivermectin and fenbendazole? These are two anti-pathogens used to treat parasitic infections and other similar types of conditions. They are used quite often in the oncology world to treat cancer. They both have as anti-pathogenic abilities.
All right, anti-pathogenic. You don't want these parasites, folks. It's all interesting. 60 million people have apparently been infected with parasites. Scary. They're everywhere. Food, water, you name it. They secretly invade your body, wreaking havoc on your gut, energy levels, even your brain. And the mainstream media doesn't want you to think about it because There's one great cleanse that can change your life, and it is from the Wellness Company. TWC.health/grant. Use that promo code GRANT to save 10%. Just fill out a brief medical intake form. Get your parasite cleanse. It is FDA approved, and the Wellness Company can help you get that. I promise you, you will not regret it. Go to TWC.health/grant for 10% off. Use that promo code GRANT only from the Wellness Company.
Jay Obernolte. Jay. Thanks, Jay.
It's the morning answer.
Well, that's President Trump, of course, talking about Jay Obernolte, Republican congressman from right here in Southern California. Congressman Obernolte is our guest on the program this morning. Congressman, it is great to have you on this morning. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning, Grant. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. All right, you guys back to work, right? We got this reconciliation bill. I would imagine this is top of everybody's mind. What's the Senate going to do? Are they going to match the cuts that the House offered up? What do you guys do? $1.5 trillion in cuts?
Yeah, that's the current plan, but we haven't finished marking up the bill yet. That's the process of putting the bill together. And it's pretty disappointing to me that the markup in the Energy and Commerce Committee, on which I sit, which we have the biggest portion of that spending reduction that we're expected to comply with, that has been postponed from this week to next week. So a little delay. I'm very disappointed about that.
All right, so I just said coming into this segment, the need for speed is of the essence when it comes to these things, not something Congress does well up there.
Absolutely. It seems like kicking the can down the road is what Congress does best, and it's been one of the most frustrating things about the job for me.
All right, $1.5 trillion in cuts. What I tell people, this is over 10 years, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? That's a pretty modest amount. I mean, this is the minimum, is what we said in the House Budget Committee when we passed this out of budget. $1.5 trillion is the minimum. We're hoping to get more.
All right. So what about the Senate now? You had Senator Barrasso, who was on with Maria Bartiromo over the weekend, saying he thought that the Senate would at least match the cuts of the House. What do you think happens there? Have you had any conversations with any of your senatorial counterparts?
Yeah, I think they do. They're doing what the Senate does best, which is waiting to see what the House does. So I think we need to do our job and put together a package that makes sense. It's logically consistent and achieves meaningful spending reductions by cutting the things we ought to be targeting. These mistaken payments, the waste in the system, the fraud in the system, some of the money laundering about how the states use Medicaid to draw down federal dollars. We should be doing all of that. And when we pass it over the Senate, I hope they look at it and they just say, yeah, that makes sense, and then they pass it, rather than passing us back something. And then that's going to create, this contest between the two chambers, which is really unhelpful.
You would think when it comes to waste, fraud, and abuse and those types of things, the things that Elon Musk and his Doge team are finding would be easy cuts. Is this really going to be an argument still between Republicans in the Senate and the House?
Oh, my goodness, Grant, I am astonished at the stuff that we can't agree on. I mean, one of the things we're arguing about this week, and one of the reasons why our energy and commerce markup was postponed, is we're arguing about how to meet our reconciliation instruction on Medicaid. So we've been asked to find $880 billion in cuts, about $650 billion of which are going to have to come from Medicaid. And Grant, I mean, this is a modest reduction in spending. It's in the single digits of percentages. And all we have to do, like the provider taxes that states impose on Medicaid providers, the state pays 10% of the tax, the federal government pays 90%, and the state pockets 100% of it. I mean, that is money laundering. It should be illegal. It should not be allowed. And just getting rid of that, Grant, would save us $600 billion. I mean, we could totally comply with our instruction right there without touching a single beneficiary, and yet we're sitting here arguing about it. It just blows your mind.
All right, Congressman, let me let you make something very clear as well. The left wants to tell us that Social Security benefits are being cut. These Medicare, Medicaid benefits are being cut. These are benefits to the people. Not true, correct?
Absolutely. First of all, Social Security and Medicare are trust fund programs. They have their own sources of revenue, and they're walled off from the general fund. Second of all, the rules of reconciliation specifically prevent us from touching either Social Security or Medicare. So we couldn't do that even if we wanted to. So this is just Democrat disinformation. And then, talking about Medicaid, as we discussed, there is so much bureaucracy and waste and outright abuse in the system. We can comply with our instructions without reducing benefits for anybody. So, the Democrats are losing their mind as usual. They're putting out all these lies and disinformation as usual, and we just need to push back and tell people the truth. Because, Grant, what really breaks my heart is we've got a bunch of senior citizens out there who are our constituents who are, genuinely worried about this because they see this disinformation. They're living on a fixed income, and they think that the world is going to end because the Democrats told them it would. And it's just not true.
Normally I would say it's stunning to think what the Democrats are doing. It's not. It's really par for the course. So I'm with you, but I'm glad we clear it up because, boy, their infectious words do start to infect people like a virus. Last question for you. If you had the ear of the speaker when it comes to this battle to get this reconciliation package done, is there any advice you would give Speaker Johnson?
Yes, absolutely. Don't take the easy way out, which is blowing up the deficit. Every time Congress gets into a dispute about spending versus tax cuts versus spending reductions, we always end up taking the easy way out, which is to just borrow more, spend more, increase the deficit. And we just cannot do it, Grant. You and I have had these conversations multiple times. We are at an inflection point. We're running a deficit of over $2 trillion. We're spending more on our just interest on our national debt than we do on national defense for the first time in the history of our country. I mean, this is the time to finally bend the curve and get spending under control. And that's what I have been saying to the speaker every time we have a chance to talk about it is don't blow up the deficit. Don't take the easy way out. Let's make the systemic corrections that we need to make to get our country on a better track.
All right, one last. I said this was the last question. One more, which is very important to me because the Trump tax cuts, extending them, is very, very important to me. Are you on board with doing that and getting that done?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? I think that the Senate has done the right thing in trying to permanently extend them because, the rules are complicated, but permanently extending them is harder than just extending them for 10 years. But I think that just extending them for another 10 years is kicking the can down the road. Let's get it done permanently.
All right. And you've got some wacky Republicans in the Senate offering up the possibility of raising taxes on the wealthy. There's no way I would go for that. Would you?
No, I don't think I want to raise taxes on anybody. The whole goal of this is to reduce people's taxes, not to raise people's taxes. And you know what? The definition of wealthy is in the eye of the beholder, right? They've done psychological studies that say people think anyone who's wealthy is people who have more money than they do, right? So let's not raise people's taxes. Let's cut people's taxes.
I was just having this conversation. I was sitting by the pool with my very special lady friend. I said, I said, if I could just make that much, I'd be happy. Then I get a few years older. Well, if I could just make that much, I'd be happy. And that much. And wealth became further and further. You never quite attain it but always be moving forward. That's my advice to people. Always have your eyes on the horizon. And Congressman Obernolte, I know that's your philosophy as well. Thank you for coming on today and good luck in this fight up there. And I know it's maddening, but we appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Grant. Great talking to you as always.
Absolutely great talking to you as well. That's a great Congressman Jay Obernolte from right here in Southern California. Hey, folks, listen up. I got a new deal for you with my friends over at Energized Health. It's called the My 555 Challenge. $5, 5 pounds in just 5 days, guaranteed. That's how much you lose. 5 pounds in 5 days for the low cost of $5. They are going to give you the tips of the 5 things of what not to do when it comes to getting healthy, losing fat, and those types of things. The My 55 Challenge has helped so many people start their weight loss journey. So I urge you, go to my555challenge.com. That's my555challenge.com. Go there today and get started. They're going to lead you on the path to a brand new life. It's a mind, body, soul program. And again, my555challenge.com. You got nothing to lose but the fat, okay? $5, 5 days, 5 pounds. Give them a try, and you make sure you tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right, who are Republicans going to offer up for the presidency when President Trump's term is over 3.5 years from now? I can't believe we're already talking about this. President Trump over 100 days into his term, and then we're thinking about who would be the next in line. Certainly J.D. Vance comes to mind. I mean, look, he's the vice president. He's doing a great job. He's being a great steward of President Trump's Make America Great Again movement. The question I have is, can this movement continue without President Trump? Think about the rallies. All of it was because of President Trump. People were eager to hear President Trump's message. I think they loved the message, but they really loved it because it was President Trump's message. Nobody carries a room like this guy. So can somebody pick up that torch? Certainly, J.D. Vance would be first in line. You've got people like Marco Rubio. There are others that are being thrown about for the presidency. But what about the Democrats? The Democrats, are they really offering up Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a bartender, to be president of the United States? I would love to run against her. I think any one of our field could beat her. You got Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom's failures in California are going to be hard to get away from, but the guy is sly as a fox. He knows what he's doing. Then there's this guy. Stephen A. Smith says he doesn't want to get in politics, says he doesn't want to run for the presidency, but people have been asking him about it. Listen to him.
See, when I think about the Republicans, I think the Republicans are asking us, particularly Trump, trust me. And by the way, he's in a position to do it because he won the popular vote. He won the Electoral College vote. He won every swing state. He won both houses of Congress. He's got a majority 6-3 in the Supreme Court. I mean, damn. Americans didn't just give it to him. He took it because he recognized what the left wasn't doing. They were preoccupied with nonsense.
You see, this guy's engaging. This is why he's got one of the most successful podcasts and TV shows in America today. Now, is he a Democrat? I believe he is. Is he a radical? I don't believe he is. May he be a moderate Republican? Maybe, and he doesn't even know it. Stephen A. Smith is a sportscaster. I've often said stick to sports to him. But look, he comes out with a viewpoint of the Republicans that's very different from the Democrat Party, and that is not that Republicans were so evil, not that Trump is a racist, but that Trump was onto something, that he harnessed what America was thinking and feeling, and he used that knowledge to propel himself into the presidency. He recognizes that the movement, the Make America Great Again movement, is legit, and to me, that makes him scary as a Democrat.
You want to ask why Stephen A. Smith felt the need to speak up at the NAB conference? Let me ask y'all this question. We supposed to leave it to Bernie Sanders and AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? We're supposed to leave it with individuals that will tell you that it's perfectly okay to tax 70% of your money? Not that they gave out that number. I'm just speculating because of how socialistic they are in their thinking. We're supposed to say that's okay? Y'all okay with that? You okay with going to work and making $100 and walking home with 30? You sure about that? Are you cool with it? Just tell me. Because these are the kind of questions that we have to ask ourselves. That is why I spoke up. I am an independent. That's who I am.
Is he? He's being asked to run as a Democrat. Most of the time when I see people put an I next to their name for independent, they're really Democrats in moderate Republican states that don't want to be seen as Democrats, but that really are. Now, in California, when you're a voter and you tell people you're an independent, that actually means you're a Republican. You don't want to admit to your friends that you're a Republican, but very different when it comes to elected officials. So is he an independent? He's certainly more independent than any of the people he just mentioned. Elizabeth Warren, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Bernie Sanders. And he's frightening to me when, if he is a Democrat, to say, hey, he doesn't want to tax us out the wazoo. Because when there's a stark difference in the issues, they're a lot easier to run against. We don't want men in women's sports. This guy doesn't believe in that. We don't want to get taxed out the ass. This guy doesn't believe in that. That makes him a scary Democrat because he's closer to how America thinks than the AOCs and Bernie Sanders of the world.
I'm not on either side. I'm not on both sides. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm creating my own lane. I have no desire to be on either side. Donald Trump has his acolytes. He has his surrogates. He has people in the bullpen. It could be a Marco Rubio. It could be a J.D. Vance. It could be somebody that we don't even know coming from the Republican Party. I sincerely doubt it's Marjorie Taylor Greene. I can tell you that much.
Why not? I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is she going to run for president? Probably not. But, we said President Trump was too divisive. Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't much different. If you actually listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene speak, she's very smart. The media doesn't give her credit for that. But they don't actually listen to her speak. So when he says he's not picking a side, to me what you're telling me is you actually are a wuss bag, because there is only right or one right side to this, and that is conservatism. Everything else is wrong. There is no middle ground when it comes to free speech. It's either free or it's not. There's no middle ground when it comes to the Second Amendment. Those inalienable rights shall not be infringed. That's not a middle ground. Do not infringe on my rights. The left wants to, the right doesn't. So by not picking a side, what you're saying is I'm running down the middle and I'm hoping I'm going to grab some people from either side. And, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, as the old song goes. But I don't think this guy is a guy that's going to fall for anything. I think he really is closer to the Republican Party than he is the Democrat Party. Maybe not on social issues. I don't know where he stands on that. But I'll play you this last clip.
But they got people on the right. That's why everybody talks about me on the left. It's not just because I voted Democrat and I voted for Kamala Harris. It's because that's the side I see myself on. But you're kind of wrong about that, too, because I don't. When I think about me, and I think about me running for president of the United States, let me re-emphasize that I am woefully unqualified. But a lot of people say so is he, and you put him in. A lot of people look at his cabinet members and the positions he has them in. They're there.
Look, you got to be qualified to be president of the United States, and I don't think there's anybody more qualified to be president of the United States than Donald J. Trump. He was president of the United States. He is and has been the executive of one of the largest companies, privately held companies in the world, the Trump Organization, employing thousands upon thousands of people. This guy is an executive. He is a critical thinker. He's a deal maker. This is the exact knowledge and expertise you need to be president of the United States. Now, do I think a talk show host could be president of the United States? Yes. I think if you have common sense, if you think outside the box, if you're willing to hire good people around you, put people in positions that have experience where you don't, I think you could do it. I don't count Stephen A. Smith out for the presidency because of lack of experience. I count him out for the presidency because right now he shows me he's more a Democrat than a Republican, and that scares me. And that he refuses to embrace conservatism. But we've seen how that goes. Tulsi Gabbard was in his same position, basically. Now she's 100% with us, and I do believe her that she really is. So we've seen these changes happen. They always happen coming to our side, though. They never happen going to the other side. So we'll see how it all plays out. This is an interesting character that I've got my eyes on. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us today. I so appreciate you watching Stinchfield, the podcast. Don't forget the Real America's Voice show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. The website is GrantStinchfield.com, GrantStinchfield.com, Stinchfield 1776 on all the social media platforms. And I urge you to follow me there. If you're watching this on any of the platforms, like the video, share the video, copy, paste the URL, and push it out to all your social media platforms. It's greatly appreciated. GrantStinchfield.com. I'm Grant Stinchfield. Thanks for watching Stinchfield's Army Rolls. We'll see you soon.